picking up all this. They're omnidirectional mics.
I'm not getting anything.
Is it the headphones?
I'm on, it says line right now. It's coming out.
It's fine, let's get up there, we'll get this started, and then that way.
Put it on mic.
Can you hear us on? We're talking all right now? All right. Okay. Well, we're gonna get started, guys. It's, just after 6:30, so it's like 6:35. Yep, 6:34. But anyway, I'd like to welcome everybody to the town hall meeting this June 23rd, 2014. With that said, it's open for the public. Any comments, any topics? Mhm.
We're really excited to hear from everyone, but we've been here since 9,
What I try to do, on behalf of Barb, Driggs resident, I just have 3 comments that I wanted to make tonight. And the first one is to thank this board. Thank you for adopting the Recreation Master Plan. I guess particularly you, Commissioner Park and Commissioner Rinaldi. I think that there's going to be an immediate benefit to coordinating resources and sharing resources between the 11 nonprofits that deal with recreation in our valley, 12 recreation-based businesses, and the 8 different governmental entities. So there's a lot of opportunity there for public-private partnerships, and I think that Recreation Master Plan is the first step in that direction, so thank you. And I'd like to think that there'll be an immediate boost in getting successful grants awarded from that as well. Second issue I wanted to touch on is road standards. I would encourage this board to be very careful when reconsidering road standards. I know that's come up on recent agendas. You just adopted them last year. They mirror national standards. And there's definitely a very direct health and safety link when it comes to road standards. I think that if you were to not apply them or repeal them, I think it sends a message of instability in the county. And I think that it would really undermine the public's trust that road funds are being applied in a consistent manner based on national criteria and standards. And I think it would send a message that, and especially a warning sign, I think, to business investors that the county doesn't have a steady hand at the wheel in terms of consistent decision making. So I would encourage you to really be cautious on that. The roads got as bad as the way they are today because there wasn't investment in roads. And so if you don't make the investments now, before the boom, you can't catch up once the boom is here. And I think that you gotta remember there's almost 8,000 vacant lots in the rural county, and most of those lots are at least a mile from the cities, if not up to 13 miles from the cities. And that, as those lots fill in with homes slowly over time, it's going to increase impacts on these roads. So that pattern of growth has been set in play, and that's something that boards, you're going to be challenged to deal with, and future boards are going to be challenged to deal with. And so now is really the time to be trying to redress these roads and build them correctly, because you won't have success trying to play catch up when the next boom comes. And my last comment is really for you, Commissioner Coons. I've been at all these meetings, and I know that you've been critical of the TBN and critical of the Valley Citizen. And I know I was here when you said that you were making a pledge to write more editorials and really explain the policy and decisions, really the policy and rationale behind your decision making, and I think that's really good to do, and I hope that you do that. I mean, you made a pledge to do it, and I haven't seen anything yet, but I hope it's coming, because I really think that accountability to the public in terms of transparent decision making really does include talking to the media and also talking to the public and explaining your decision making. So I hope that's coming. Those are my 3 comments. Thank you.
I'm just going to say a couple things there, just real quick, just a clarification on this. Just how I felt on the adoption of the master plan for recreation. Most of the word in the community right now is of a recreation district, and it scares them to death. And it's just, you got a lot of people that are in fixed incomes, and they've seen how some things go. So it's like, and so that's what we're not trying to do, And I could see, and that the reason I went for the recreation plan was because I could see we could bring all these groups together and basically form one group that, you know, could disperse money however in different areas. The road standards, are we correct with our road standards being 30 feet? You know, that's what I'd like to look at that, make sure that we are on track for that, because a lot of the roads, we have a lot of roads that are in disrepair, that are out in there, and we really need to look at those. And it worries me that we're gonna size one up and forget about some others in the future, and I think what the plan was is to look at if we're doing the right thing at the right pace for all the good of the community. And so I think that's why I wanted to look at that standard. That's how I wanted to look at it, because I don't know if a 30-foot wide road in some of our rural settings, you know, on the river, is the right thing yet. So I want to look at that again. And that's kind of why that was set up on that. That's kind of why I want to look at that, to make sure that we are on track, because when that was brought about to us on the, if I remember right, talking to, when Jay brought it into us, he said he wanted 2 foot on the left, 2 foot on the right for bicycle pathways. And so we just want to make sure if it's thoroughfare for more vehicles, or if it's for bicycles, or you know what.
It's probably a shared road, right? Because that road in
Yeah,
particular
we
is
should
one
be
where
sharing all the
cyclists
roads, and that's,
was killed.
yeah.
So it seems like there is a need for some
Yeah.
dealing with that road and making it safe as a shared use road, and it is part of the loop road that is a really popular cycling loop. I would hope that the county would keep its standards in place, at least to consistently apply them, since they are mirroring national standards. I agree with you on the recreation plan district question, and I totally see what you're saying with concerns. And I think you're right on in hoping that having a recreation plan gets the groups together to share resources.
Yeah.
And I think that will be true, and I think that will come to fruition.
Well, I hope what I said kind of
Yep.
helped you out, you know, as far as where my feelings came from, you know, all that, so, anyway.
Thank you for voting for it. I appreciate it. Anything else? All over here?
I did actually submit a letter to the papers this morning.
Oh, good.
I will actually read that to you if you'd like me to.
If you want to, sure. Yeah.
Why don't I?
Okay.
I was recently quoted as saying that I don't care about national standards when it comes to roadways. Of course, that is not true. I care about every road in the county. However, I do believe that bringing all roads up to a livable standard should come ahead of bringing some of them to a national gold standard. As a county commissioner, it is my responsibility to make sure the basic services are provided for all before affording the niceties of life for some. To be more specific, bicycling is an admirable endeavor which promotes healthful exercise but is not a need. It is an elective activity that at best is possible only 6 months out of the year in Teton County. In addition, current traffic in the county is not so heavy as to preclude bicycling on most roads at most times. The cost of a bicycle path is not limited to the initial outlay for construction, but also includes an unending maintenance expense. Lane marking, surface repairs, and probably more rigorous and frequent weed control than is currently practiced for roads. Roads, on the other hand, are used 12 months out of the year and should be in passable condition without the necessity of a four-wheel drive vehicle for day-to-day rural and semi-rural living, emergency vehicles, school buses, and businesses, including agriculture. Our comprehensive plan advocates preservation of the rural, agricultural lifestyle. Good roads are part of that. As the economy continues to improve, the population of Teton County will increase, along with, no doubt, an increased interest in bicycling. The increased population will also benefit the county budget, making expensive options such as bicycle paths a more reasonable budget item. We're not quite there yet. In the meantime, first things first, we need to make the wisest decisions regarding the funding that we have for road improvements. We need to find measures that will increase the efficiency of the road and bridge department so that we can get the biggest bang for our tax buck. We must address that which is needed, not just wanted.
And thank you for submitting a letter. I hope that this is a regular occurrence. I think that will be constructive for the public to understand. And the timing of that is really fortuitous because we have a brochure coming out in the papers this week on the economic benefits of pathways and how they are one of the major contributors to our local economy here, and how they pay for themselves in property taxes. And so that's going to be in all papers this week. So, you know, pick one up, and, you know, now if you're reading the papers, pick one up and check it out. You know, there's a lot in there. It's a real eye-opener about what cycling and pathways contribute to our economy. And I think that the comprehensive plan, you know, pinpointed that, that was, a message from the public, and I think that that's part of the recreation plan as well, is tying this all to our economy.
The comprehensive plan also addresses rural roads, and every time that we bring up issues as far as upkeep or maintaining rural roads that may not have a traffic count, you and others of the regulars at our meeting seem to want to fight that. So, I just wonder why that is, why you bring up the comp plan, but you don't support that part of it. You just support the ones that you want to support.
Well, I hope you're not saying me like in a personal way, I'm saying,
I'm saying you as you, representing Bard, and you as a regular at the meeting.
Oh.
You're here more often than most people are in the county, so yeah, I do, I'm saying, and you also, talk to me personally more often, and so, I don't, if you want support of the comp plan, I think you should support the total of it.
I think we do. I think Bard's position has been clear and consistent application of fair road standards, so that roads aren't being evaluated on a case-by-case basis, but are being all evaluated on an equal basis in terms of road counts.
So how would you suggest that people, if the county's bringing in the same amount of money for a road that has less road count, you think those people who live on those roads should never get
Of course
assistance
not.
on there? So how do you propose that we do that?
Well, I think that the county has to take a hard look at its patterns of growth and where people are living and where the impacts are. I think that there also has to be a very real discussion about the supplemental road levy and its future and what needs to happen with that levy just to fund our basic infrastructure needs. But I think you get into really dangerous territory when you steer away from the road standards, because then you're veering off into the world of who knows who and what your relationship is to people asking for certain maintenance requests, and it doesn't become fair and consistent anymore. And if you're trying to create an environment where people have trust in their government, have trust in how their tax dollars are being spent, it really boils down to fair and consistent policies that aren't waived here and there willy-nilly.
If it was fair and consistent, the roads that haven't had maintenance for 20 years would have had gravel put on them.
We didn't have the money until we did the supplemental. We were so far behind.
We're still fighting that same battle,
It's a long catch-up, it just is. It's been a long backlog, it's gonna be a long catch-up. I hope we can find room for other modes of transportation in the community besides cars. I think there's a lot of different forms of, we just spent a lot of money on a recreational amenity for 6 months out of the year at the fairgrounds, and I would say that Cycle Greater Yellowstone is coming to Teton Valley this summer, and has almost 750 cyclists already registered, and they're riding the square. And some communities like Ennis, Montana, did not want to see Cycle Greater Yellowstone, and now that it's gone through their community, they saw the economic benefit of those people staying and spending money there, they're begging for the route to come back. So I think if we can make room and we can think long-term, we can actually put some more money into our community too.
And I think that it's cooperative too. I don't think of it as a, us versus them. You're either a cyclist or you drive cars. I think most people enjoy both and care about both. And so, I would encourage you to think of it more inclusively and be trying to find ways to get the biggest benefit for as many people as you can, and not parsing out user groups, but to think of the community holistically and be, not thinking of a route as just for roads, but, how can you benefit the largest amount of people possible?
I'm not trying to preclude people from using those roads, and I think that road, the state highway is 30 feet wide. The state highway is 30 feet wide. Do we need county roads that are of the same standard as the county as the state highway? I don't think so. And I don't think the width of that road is precluding cyclists from riding that. There's the traffic, is not at such a high level that bicycles can't use that road.
But we're talking about the other roads that are part of the Valley Loop. That's one of the big tourist attractions that brings people here. But I guess that kind of leads to the bigger question is, if you find the national standard for roads so objectionable, then why did you vote for it in the first place?
I've explained that several times, Dana. It was pretty new. I was new to this when it came. I didn't do the research. I don't think it's a bad standard. I've told these guys, I don't think it's a bad standard. I just think that there are people in this valley that have trouble getting up and down their roads. They have to have a four-wheel drive. I don't know if you drove from, Bates over to Pax Saddle along by the golf course all
getting killed on a bike a life need? Addressing that,
If you wanna
safe
put,
routes?
if you wanna put that down as far as, you think that us addressing those issues to somebody getting killed on a bike, I don't think that, I don't think it's part of the same conversation.
I guess, I mean, our roads it took a long time for our roads to get to the position they are. They're gonna take a long time to get out. I think past boards have tried creative ways to address it, whether it was developers' donations or sharing it with property owners, like the Ribblingers Road, which we all wondered, why is that a county road? And really, it just came down to money in the supplemental levy, right? We've asked taxpayers to incrementally help catch the infrastructure up, and it's just gonna take a while. It's gonna take a while. That need, again, was $11 million when it was presented to us. And there are some people out there like, let's do a highway district. And we're like, whoa, you do a highway district and you've got another district that's gonna collect a lot of money. So it's picking away. It's one bite of the elephant at a time.
And I would really encourage this board to kind of see it that way, that it takes a lot of good decisions to kind of dig your way out of some of these situations. Situations you inherited. In all fairness, you totally inherited them. So I would just encourage you to really kind of remember that it's just going to take a while applying road standards fairly to bump them all up, and it might also include the need to raise the road levy. You know, that's a big reality for sure. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. Next.
I wasn't gonna mention this, but Hannah just. What's your name? Oh, Mike Ridley, Did you get that?
Both
It'll be on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Recorded, there's no
All right.
minutes.
As far as the bike path, and the road, the highway, I was nearly killed twice before on the road riding my bike, and I'm just a commuter, I'm not a serious cyclist, I'm not out there all the time, I just come in to get groceries and that sort of thing. And twice, really close, because, you know, somebody's trying to dodge something or a truck, and I've had to just bail under the weeds to get away. So even though it's 30 feet wide, there's not much of a shoulder there, and it doesn't take much. I mean, even if we had a shoulder 3 times as wide, you know, it doesn't take much for a car to cruise all, you know, across there. So just from a safety standpoint, I think the pathway has been good. Because it does, you know, most people, I think, especially like me, that are just kind of commuters, use the, you know, it's right along the highway. It's a handy place, and it was already a railroad. We all know that. But it does take maintenance, and, you know, there's money there. But what I really came to talk about was, I was gone for the Recreation Master Plan meeting. I was out of town. But I read the paper and I listened to the audio. And I just have a question for you, Sid, about, it seems like you're reluctant to adopt plans, or you have a reticence or a fear of plans. And you had a fair amount of paper on that, but could you elaborate on that a little more? I'm just trying to get an understanding of how you think about planning in general, and also, is it recreation per se, or is it planning? You know,
I just feel like this, I've said it several times, and I'm not in favor of more taxing districts, and I believe that this could turn into another taxing district. I think we have taxing districts that have taken advantage of the they got adopted based on a certain set of, you know, expectations that people kind of bought into at the beginning, you know, thinking that, yeah, that might not be a bad idea, it might save us money in the long run, you know, well then 5-7 years later, you know, things have blown up, and the people that started it, that were actually in favor, that were going around asking people to vote for it, and now going, what in that crap did we just do? We just adopted a district that is now ballooned into something
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I agree with a fair amount of it, you know, we have all these opportunities to go and do it. But, you know, there's some hidden activities, I mean, just take Forest Service Trail, I mean, they don't just happen. You know, maybe the Forest Service maintaining a trail, is that providing entertainment? I've run into you on horses out in the woods, and it's a great thing to do, I don't know if it's called entertainment, but where do you draw the line? I know what you're getting at with, you know, the big ticket items, but the plan was such a phase, you know, and I'm just curious why there's such a fear of the slippery slope. I mean, I remember 30-some years ago they were talking about a recreation district. It's not a new thing. It's not like it's got a tremendous amount of momentum. It took all those years to get to this point, and so I don't see it as this big juggernaut. It seemed pretty well thought out. You know, we already have a lot of infrastructure we need to maintain, the ball fields, that sort of thing. Cities do that, and it's not that unusual. I used to play in the ball fields here, and I guess the city maintained it. And I don't see why. And can you name an example of a taxing district that blew up? I'm curious, is that the fire one, or?
Yeah. I think we're working on some efficiencies with the fire and the ambulance, trying to merge and make things a little bit more efficient, but I know I hate to name names because they don't ask to be in the paper, but I know I talked to a guy that, you know, that was all for it. He went around, he went door to door trying to get people to vote for that fire district, and he asked him about that now, he would say, oh, we made a huge mistake.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about. Yeah, and not that it matters, but, yeah, so, okay, I get that.
That's just it's my personal, it passed.
Oh, I know it passed,
That's
yeah.
my personal take on it, more of a, yeah, I don't think it's the role of government to entertain people, especially, you know, here where you come out to enjoy the outdoors, to, you know, we have so much public land here, I mean, it's not like you're cooped up in the house, you can't get out because you're in the city, you can't get out of the city, I mean, you don't have to go anywhere to get out and be nice.
Oh.
It's just preferences on,
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I'm an avid climber and skier, and low-cost things, and like I said, just go out and do it. But it isn't like it just happens, that's what I'm trying to say. So where do you draw the line? You know, Forest Service maintains trails, is that entertainment? Should we rip out all the ball fields because it's too much fun? Or, you know, I'm just trying to get a sense of, it seems capricious how you make your decision, that's all.
that's just my personal feeling.
On that too, on the Forest Service trails, they've closed a lot of them down to multiple use. You know, they used to be four-wheelers. They started out being horse trails mainly, and then, you know, four-wheelers and bug trails. But they used to spray for bugs back in the 40s, and then they went, you know, so you had a multiple use type mentality at that time. But then those are slowly going away, and we're segregating ourselves from being a open community to all aspects, to, you know, segregated for bikes here, motorcycles here, four-wheelers here, and so we have them fears. There's the fears of that, you know, and I didn't see that ever. I'd like to see it go right back the old way where we have multiple use and you could get to these trails, you know, get to places, because now there's places that I've been that nobody will probably never get to see because of maybe the type of transportation that we used to use versus what you can use to that trailhead now. So, you know.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I used to make my living
I know you.
maintaining trails.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it is there's just more people. I mean, the big holes, for example, those trails they were always kind of steep and hard to maintain, but now there was a lot more use. In fact, there's pushed a lot of the motorized stuff there. And man, some of those spots are pretty tough shape. So a lot of it is just, you know, Forest Service sees these, you know, hard to maintain trails. So one choice is to limit the use to foot traffic because it is cheaper to maintain that. It's a hard decision. But a lot of it is just there's a lot more people here. It's like 5 times more than it was 3 years ago. So you're going to get conflicts, you know. Yeah. You know, that's the way it is. You know that. So,
We all
okay.
have different opinions
Yeah.
too, as you can tell,
Yeah.
with us 3 commissioners. We all think it's good, though. I think it's healthy, myself. So.
Okay, well, thank you.
Bob Fitzgerald, down here in Cash. I wonder, is the proper role for government to provide parks, recreational parks in cities, sidewalks, gymnasiums in the schools? The government has the idea of it just, it is not responsible for providing entertainment. I kind of wondered about the word entertainment. We have national parks, we have state parks, we have trailways, and we have many things that it is the role for the government to provide for the people. Actually, the government is the people, and it should look after the well-being of the people. But that being said, as you know, I live up at the north end, and it's not that often I get down to the south end in the winter. But when I do, I noticed that there are cross-country skiers on the bike path, and snowmobiles, I think there are. So the bike path is used more than just half a year. It's used by other people on skis and sleds and so forth. So I would think that's a benefit to everybody. And if we don't have the roads up to the national standard now, when in the future will we be able to do that? Is it not a better idea to prepare for it now, so that it's all in place with the hopes that our population and economy in our county will be far better off 20 years from now, or 30 years ago? I think back in '83 when they were tearing up the railroad track, and the county refused to buy the right-of-way, and the city refused to buy the right-of-way. Well, it'd sure be handy to have that now, but no one could look that far down the road. And so we don't have it, and it's pretty much impossible to reclaim, so we have a bike path that wanders around. I would much rather have people on a bike path than on the highway. I can remember riding my bicycle on a 3-3. That was scary enough on my motorcycle. And it's nice to have a wider street. I think that would be the responsibility of the county to provide for the safety of everyone, and having a little wider thing. Grand Teton National Park discovered that when a number of people had the misfortune of being hit by the mirrors on the campers, the Winnebagos and horse trailers, when a bicyclist is alongside the road and the mirror hits in the back of the head and kills him. And so the Park Service went ahead and built pathways. And that's an excellent idea, and that brings people in. So having these things here is a draw overall to the economy and well-being of the county. So if we are going to do the roads, then I think we should not have to do all of them immediately, but it seems to me Jay has a plan where we work along within our budget to improve the roads. I was fortunate enough the other day to ride my motorcycle up to Victor and get an ice cream cone, and I stopped by Fitzgerald's bicycle shop. And then I said, gee, there's been many complaints aired here about the loop road. So I decided to ride on my motorcycle on it. So I left and headed out to the west to ride along the west side of the valley. Now, I rode slowly, 30 miles an hour on my motorcycle. Well, I didn't see a bare pothole anywhere. They were overlays, where asphalt was overlaid, other stuff. There was patchwork. Some places the side of the road wasn't as wide as I like to have it, and it was falling apart kind of. And there were parts of areas that when I turned to go north, where the road wasn't as wide as I like to have it, but then too there's agricultural equipment out there that goes up and down the road. Not the ones with the wide fat tires, but you know, the Peterbilts and so forth. And I didn't have any trouble at all, in negotiating it. There's a few ups and downs, but it wasn't anywhere near as bad as Backstack was. And so I don't see quite the urgency on that road, although it would certainly be nice to have it wider. What's the population over there on the west side anyhow? It seems to me there's a lot of people who have built homes over there. So the traffic pattern in future, I could see perhaps would be inclined to go around the west side if the roads were decent. Views are fantastic. But as it is right now, I did not see a washboard that destroyed the road. So everything takes time, you know. And we've come a long ways here since I can think back to '83, and I think if we progress in a logical way within the budget, that with some foresight, I think we can do a heck of a good job here in the county for all the people. Remember, this population is going to go up eventually here, and there will be more people here. And the more people who come in with other ideas, why the better the employment level is, the more people spend money here. And this is like an island, the money goes around and around in the valley, we all know that. So I'm just optimistic about it. And, let's think of everybody, not only the farmers out in the north who need to have that road maintained so they get their crops in, but also other people who use the road on a daily basis. So the studies are there, and so it's nice to have a plan so that we know a direction that we're moving in, and then that plan can be altered according to meet unseen situations or other things deemed to be more important than something else. So Kelly, you got me up here, so I started talking.
Well, I'm gonna ask you a question. And you can say if I'm wrong or right, but on the railroad right-of-ways, first people that got choices to that were the property owners that lived along them right-of-ways. So that's how we lost from Gary Henry's coming in this way, because he had the first right to refusal of that property. Now, isn't that's how I was told on that, you know, by these guys. So, and that's why we lost those coming in, and it was a good thing that the Parks and Rec was able to get a hold of them. The rest of it. And there, is that, because you live pretty close to one too, and did you have the right of, to refuse or to buy that piece of property too?
It was just a little too far to my east.
I didn't know how far your property extended from there, but yeah.
Well, at that time, I was thinking of eminent domain.
A lot of
And
people think that.
so exercise eminent domain, and the county just grab it, because it was all in there.
But if I remember the railroad, that's what they did. They come in, they give those people that ordered that the first right, the refusal to purchase that property, and there's a lot that did buy that.
Well, you know, that's talking about eggs that have already been scrambled. So, the only reason I brought that up is to recommend the fact that we ought to polish on the ball, the crystal ball a bit, you know, look farther down the road. I know here with what you guys do, you gotta deal with facts and numbers, budgets as you get this afternoon. And boy, you can't have everything. As we're finding out now, when the state of Idaho decides to cut the monies for the schools in order to save the property owners, tax money, then we turn around and have to raise taxes on property owners to support the school because the state didn't do it. So, you know, it's a funny situation. So, we just try to keep everybody's well-being in mind. And the plan is pretty good. What do you think of the comprehensive plan, by the way?
I voted for it.
Yeah, I thought you did.
Yeah. But anyway, I think we're all here on the same board, just there's questions that come up to us, are we going on the right path for certain things, and we'll question ourselves to make sure that we're on the right path, you know. And it's like, we don't want to see anybody be hurt on the roads or anything, and, you know, it's just, we take all the same concerns that you do, Bob, so.
Well, I was at the hospital the other day in the waiting room, and this gal sitting behind me says, well, I don't like the direction the county's going in. I said, well, which direction is that? Well, they're spending all the money on the bike pass and not enough on the roads. And I said, well, if we didn't have a bike pass, we would have people riding on the roads. He said, well, they should be riding bicycles anyway.
That's,
You know, well, thank you for your opinion, you know. I'm curious as to just how much public money was spent on the bike pass, and how much of it was raised privately, or grant money, or like that. And was I not right about the bike path up here to Victor? Is it not used during the winter time for other sports?
well, I think there's people.
Used by snowmobilers.
Yeah, because once it gets a snow cover of a foot, I think snow machines can go on it, that's when it becomes a multiple use item right there. You know, it's just summertime, you're not supposed to ride four-wheelers, you know,
No, of course not. They're right
and
bicycles.
motorcycles on it at that point.
And I think there's another one going in, heading east out of town, is there not? Well, I thought I saw, I was out at the skateboard park. I went out there to relive my youth when I used to skateboard on steel wheels on a 2x4. And so I had like a sidewalk surfing in 1959. And I'm 71 years old, here I am. You know, like, I'll be around for a while too. But I did not ride one of those new skateboards, though. I was not quite ready for that just yet. Some skills I can remember, but I'm out of practice. But however, there was out there by Drigson, the city building out there seemed to be a pathway that went off and parallel to the Ski Hill Road. So I thought, gee, I ought to go out there and explore that. But you know, these are things that bring people in.
There is one, yeah, the city of Driggs did that.
Yeah, we'll never guess you'd be an old Sims
A surfer guy? and a
surfer guy,
skateboarder?
knuckle dragger from back in the.
Well, I grew up in Hawaii and you know, Pango, Samoa, Guam, Philippines.
Well, I still have a
Southern
Sims
Cali.
skateboard, so
Yeah,
1977.
yeah, well, I remember the Beach Boys, when they were practicing in their garage just up the street there in Manhattan Beach, so. Well, I could ramble on that, but you know, we all live in a yellow submarine, right? So we just want to make sure we don't drown.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it. We're still going strong, guys.
I can clarify something that was just, can I come out again?
I don't, unless there's somebody else who wants to jump up right now,
It'll just be
you want to clarify it? Mike, that's great.
It's on the bike path.
Okay.
Mike Bergliano again. I live along the bike path, the main one. And that particular spot, I'm right along the highway. And my situation is, it was probably the same way along the whole highway. My property doesn't go quite to the bike path. It's in a borrow pit between the county road, you know, and that. So it's probably in Cannon right away. That would be my guess. So that's probably why that whole stretch
That's
was
awesome.
so contiguous. And then as it veered off, you know, through Gary Henry's and others, it was more on private ground.
Yeah.
So, and then where the money came from for the original building, it was, I'm pretty sure it was federal money, ICE-T money. I don't know what ICE-T stands for, but it was from.
I thought it was Park and Rec's money that come through and took care of it and did that, because Park and Rec's one thing, the one that did the bridge and everything, that it was.
But it could have come from.
They would have not got the right of way. The right of way would have always been, it would have been state right of way. It's not like.
Yeah, they didn't have to buy the land,
Buy-
but as far as paving it, I was on the board of TV TAP when I was a founding member. That was our first project. It's been a long time, it's been 20 years. But as I recall, it was an ICE-T. I don't know what that stands for, but it's kind of for non-motorized traffic or use, bike paths, walking paths that they take out of the main federal highways money. And it gets voted on every 5-6 years, Congress says, well, yeah, let's keep it in or not. So I think it's been re-upped several times. So I think that was the first year. And back then, the big thing the commissioners had to deal with was maintenance, because I think that funding just built it. And then it was like, now, what do you do?
And that's where the $30,000 a year goes to maintenance on trails and pathways. That's part of our levy money.
The road levy. Yeah, so it's kind of the same just different source.
That kind of gives you an idea what goes in the roads and pathways too, $30,000 a year from that. And so, but there's probably lots of different areas that money goes to in that.
Yeah, okay, well, thanks.
One more aside. Bob Fitzgerald again. Backside Road isn't the same as it was in 1983, or when I first saw it way back when, in 68, 69. And now it's looking pretty good. We got that part of the park done. It went all the way down to Cash. Now they have it all ripped up. I rode down on my ride there, and I went down to the bridge, the Cash Bridge. By the way, the sign's gone. It says Cash Bridge. They put the outhouse right where the sign used to be, and then disappeared.
Put in a comment.
Something about that. So, the road is expanding out, and I would expect the other road to have the same progress over time too. The Cedar Road. I mean, shoot, boy, within the budget, imagine when Paxow Road's all done, then you have resources to go elsewhere. You guys know, where the money is, and so I'm optimistic about that. It just, it takes time. There's been a lot of improvement in the valley. Boy, chip seal, there's been a lot of it.
1976, we did a movie on the dirt road this way, going out, making it look like we were easy riders on bicycles. That's what I know.
What do you guys say, Ron?
The movie Easy Rider didn't end well, so I don't know why you want to limit that.
Well, we were teenagers, so it didn't really matter.
They only saw the first half.
Yeah, we didn't see the end.
They didn't see the end of it.
Hello again. As you know, Isabel Waddell is being recorded, right, so I shouldn't say who I am. First of all, I want to say how diligent you guys are. I can't believe you're still sitting here. When I came in this morning, you were sitting here working, and I know you worked all day, and I know you're working on a budget. It's extremely difficult, and so I want to thank you for the hard work that you do on behalf of the county. I do want to just make some observations from my perspective regarding our growth of our county. I have a small bit of a perspective because I do have people coming to me and searching for insurance and things like that. So I see people closing on homes. I see people coming into the valley looking for homes to close on, but they can't find one. So that's telling me right there that we're going to start seeing some. I don't know how many building permits have we issued. They're up, and they're going to be up even faster. And so the more we can think about segregating our traffic. I was driving in today from work, and I work out at Valley Center. I'm sorry, Anna, that I work at Valley Center, but anyway, so I was driving in, and there were it was a family, and they were tourists, and they were walking back to their hotel at the Super 8 with groceries on the side of the highway. So the more we can think about it, not in terms of recreation, but we can think in terms of how do we allow people the modality that they need to get from one place to another without pedestrians and bicyclists being exposed to cars and trucks. And I would guess that the reason the bicyclist was killed could have partially been because of the person was driving way too fast for the road and the conditions.
It was dark.
So, and it was dark, and the bicyclist was out riding the bike in the dark. And So that's a really bad situation, but it's not, to me, the reason to think about it is to think about it's important to allow everyone some sort of modality, whether it's bicycles, whether it's vehicles, whether it's farm trucks, because you have to really think, as you know, about the farm trucks and how the farm trucks can get to market. And that's an important thing. That's important to our economy here, and it's even more important because, unless I'm wrong, I think agriculture is doing a lot better than it was a little while ago, and so we have more farm trucks. So if we think about it in terms of that, as opposed to this recreational unit, people want this over here, I would want my government to think in terms of that and not necessarily what do the recreationalists want, but what is appropriately what we need to do for the health and safety of our county and to allow commerce to occur, of which that is a part of it. It's not all of it. It is a part of it. I, for one, am extremely excited about the bike path coming out to Valley Center because now I can ride my bike to work. I haven't ridden my bike to work for years because it was a scary situation. And I believe that was paid for by a grant that the city got. So, you know, looking for creative ways. As far as the recreation district goes, I'm glad that it was voted for because it was the one thing that overwhelmed everything else in the comp plan. And I was a part of the core comp plan when it first started going. And we were going out there soliciting public input. They did a humongous effort in trying to get every single person in this county to provide comment and input as to what they wanted in a comp plan. And what came out dwarfing everything else was a recreation center and a recreation plan. And so you guys are operating to what the citizens want. So whatever your personal things are, Sid, and I appreciate that, but you're not acting on that behalf sitting behind that counter. You're not really allowed to, as far as I know, bring in your personal opinion. You have to act on the will of the people and what we want and our budget. And so the will of the people is to have a rec center, or a rec district. You guys are going on that. And then I would like to also go on record in saying that if we did look at funding in some creative way, something that we wanted to have in place by selling some sort of a municipal bond, that I would buy that. I would invest in our valley big time. So it's not just taxes and grants that can create money, but I'm looking for something to invest in the county. So I would certainly entertain that as well. And I want to say to those of you that come regularly, I'm probably going to be another one of your regulars because I have the bug now. Sid's like, oh great. No, he's just tired as hell. I can see that, excuse me. I do have a little red handkerchief back there, and if I hear that our discourse is getting less than good public discourse, in other words, we are being impolite and rude to each other, I'll be raising my little red flag. So I just want to let you guys know that and watch for that, because personal attacks have no place in our public discourse and what we're trying to do to improve our community. So, do you guys have any questions for me?
I just throw out a comment. I was elected after the comp plan was adopted, and I mince no words. So if you don't think that I can act on my personal beliefs, or that I have to take what, you know, I've heard that comment before, and I just think it's foolish to think that we can't act on our personal beliefs. You know, that's what, I was elected based, and I didn't beat around the bush in my campaign.
Right.
I knew exactly where I stood on all the issues. I have stood firm on the things that I campaigned for the first time. I haven't changed my mind and gone down different paths. And for someone to get up and tell me that I can't vote based upon my personal beliefs, I just think it's crazy to me.
You can vote however you want, Sid. You can vote however you want. I just think that if we're attempting to represent a large group of our population and not just the constituents who voted for us, that it seems to me that, I mean, I have a lot of personal beliefs too, but I'm not gonna, if I'm acting on behalf of a lot of people, I'm not gonna just say I'm gonna vote because that's my personal belief. You know, it seems to me that it seems to be one of those things that offers up a question. You know, it questions our ability to move our government and our citizenry and our laws forward when we're not lying on our laws, our rules, our voting, what our people voted for you because they believe in individual rights, property rights. And
They voted for me based on my beliefs and what I campaigned on. Otherwise, they wouldn't have voted for me. Period. If you think,
Okay.
I totally disagree with you that you think I need to be going against my personal beliefs.
I'm not asking you to go against them, I'm just asking you to make a decision on something other than your personal beliefs, that's all.
Okay, well, we'll disagree.
That's all.
We'll agree to disagree on that one.
That's, yeah, certainly.
Thanks, Isabel. Well, we got like, this is an hour one, so you got 3 minutes.
Oh, we'll see.
Come on.
All right.
We've all said.
We've been wanting to know who you are.
I'm
anyway.
Corey McGrath. I guess I've heard a lot of talk, and it's all right on, you know, Commissioner Park, about the seniors and the fixed budget and working off that. And I also live off a fixed budget, you know. I'm a young guy I've been here 4 years. I won't ever be from here, but I'll always live here. But I think it's important to also think about, like, I'm a person that wants to raise a family here. And when we think about our planning, we should also think about the young folks that do live in this valley. And I think it's commonly a really underrepresented group, which is partially why I really wanted to get involved here. And I think it's a group that a lot of people don't necessarily pay a lot of attention to because we don't have a great voting record, and I understand that. But it's a big part of Teton County these days, and it's a big part of why people come here because of what it is and the growth that has happened and the growth that I think is going to continue to happen inevitably. And so if we can have some planning for that, I think we're going to look back and be glad that we did the work now rather than, you know, constantly trying to play catch up like we kind of are right now. So, thank you.
No, thanks. It's
Yeah.
good to be here. You think the young group is the least represented group in the?
No, I don't think they're the least represented. If I said that, I don't think they're the least represented. I just think they're not commonly.
They're not heard.
Yeah, they're not heard. Yeah.
Not heard, okay.
Yeah, they're not heard from as much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would agree, I mean, I totally agree, I think there's a population from 20 to 35, 40, you know, that, you know, most people, this is just my take on it, you know, maybe, I don't know if you are, but generally, haven't gotten involved, don't really, you know, it doesn't affect them that much, they haven't gotten involved as much, you know, I think on both sides, I think there are, you know, and I think we need to, I would encourage all that younger group to be, you know, to be heard.
Right, and I think too, you know, it's hard to feel like you do have a voice when there's a lot of other folks there, and you see the pathway where the county is going, and it feels like a very uphill battle, or it can, and I'm encouraging them, you know, to get involved as well.
Well, the thing that I mean, your vote and your voice, if you want to be heard, this place is one, I mean,
Yeah, it's one vote, one voice.
very few places in this country have more of a voice than you do here. I mean, one vote
don't show up at meetings. I mean, I can say the demographic who comes at our commissioner meetings are generally people over 50.
Right.
I hate to say, sorry, Ron, but you guys have the time, right? People in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, they're busy with, if you're retired, which I'm pretty sure you are, they're working, they're raising families, they don't have time to do this. So I think where they do get involved is with these planning processes, like the comprehensive plan, like the master plan. So if we hear from them, we should heed what they're saying.
I think the
Instead of
point,
just writing it off and.
to pull it around, I know you've been here all day and I don't want to keep you too long, but I think the point is that, as we talked about, they're not maybe a fully represented group. And so, when their voice is heard, I think it should be listened to and considered as strongly as other groups. And I don't think it's heard as much, and that's really what I wanted to bring forward today.
Well, yeah, and just a little foresight on this, this forum that you see tonight,
Right.
the open mic in the day, that was all suggested by Commissioner Coons to bring the community together so that we could listen to everybody out there. And I think this has worked out really, really well. So
Yeah.
it's like, and I was glad you come up because
Yeah.
I like to hear from everybody.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, you got a twin brother out there now somewhere.
Yeah.
I know that I always get away with that.
I had a guy living by me throughout the winter, and he was from, where he was from, Georgia or somewhere. Honestly, you look identical to him. His name's Chip.
Chip.
You got it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ed.
Well, the young people will be heard from on Thursday night at, Music at Maine. That's where they are. We can get that crowd into here.
And Wilmar from Jackson.
Yeah.
Everybody, is there anybody else want to say something
Yeah.
before we, I do, I can see
Yeah.
you getting shoes in there, Rob.
Get on up there.
It's all about timing. Good segue, and I would like to compliment you guys. I mean, I know it's been a long day and a long couple of weeks with the budget and, you know, the green eye shade and you're going cross-eyed. But I do appreciate the ability to public comment, and even when it's not exactly according to Robert's rules. I mean, today you allowed people to input with the rock or the squirrel or whatever it was, I'm not sure. But I think it's important that you as commissioners retain this no matter what happens in November and who takes office in January. And I think it's important that you send a strong signal and comment on this to the rest of the valley, because in the south end of the valley, as you may have been reading, the city of Victor has implemented some very confusing rules in their city business meetings with the public, allowing public comment. And the people in, I don't live in the city of Victor, but just reading and talking to people on the street, they're feeling disenfranchised and or disavowed almost. So I think, not that you want to get involved in the city of Victor business, but I think possibly at your next meeting, considering a sense of the county commission resolution, reaffirming these sorts of forums of public discourse, polite public discourse, so I don't get a fuchsia bandana waved at me.
It's bright red.
Okay, I'm colorblind. No wonder I keep running all those lights. But just perhaps consider that, to send a strong message to the rest of the valley that you are not going to get tied up in a bunch of legalese rules, and you're going to continue to listen to all the people all the time. Thank you.
Thanks very much, appreciate it. Everybody's had their chance, I'm gonna close this open mic down, and I'd like to thank everybody for coming, because it's really great to hear from everybody. It was a really positive night, that's, but we gotta know.